That's the game.
At long last, for the first time since, well, ever, the Nebraska Cornhuskers have finally won the softball regular season championship. Just, just makes it so great. Just makes it so nice. Because, dear Lord, if it was another dud season after last year or the year before that, where not everything was ever able to be put together, that would have been tough. But here we are, crowned the almighty and the best of the Big Ten. Not even any of the West Coast schools can say that they are better than this. Yep. That's it. And that's pretty much all. But no. All right. Yeah. Hello. So we have to talk about the rest of the season. So earlier, during the season, I made two different videos on beating the tie for one and number one team. Very early in the season, first two fucking weekends, beat both of them. But I guess we can recap that. So weekend one was being hosted by UTSA. That's something, I guess. Beat Washington, lose to Texas by the most amount. Gave up fucking 15 runs in that game. Scored 10, most of it in like the final inning though. Then beating Texas. Oh boy, that's fun. Beating UTSA barely, and then chitting themselves against Washington, which I have put as the worst loss, but I think there could be a tie. Next one, we blank LSU, who is currently they're still ranked, but under 500 in conference play. Hallelujah. And then we dropped two straight. Fuck. And Tennessee. Now, while emotionally, the Tennessee loss was probably the worst of them all, even including the fact that, if we beat UCLA, we could have had a perfect season. Which, in my mind, we could have had a worse loss later on. But anyway, the tie for worst loss. There's actually a three-way tie, but losing to Georgia by one run in a game in which we could have come back pretty easily and then just decided to not. But hey, we beat Texas Tech, and UCF eventually became a ranked opponent despite being the unranked team in this. Now, yes, there were 8 teams that we played out of 10 games in which teams were ranked. But hey, next weekend, clean sweep, including 2 SEC teams, and then garbage. And then lose to fucking Oklahoma State, because we apparently cannot beat them for the life of them. Even if it did take 11 innings, it was painful up to that point. Beat him the next time, and then have the third game canceled because of weather. Because of fucking course it was weather. I really wish we could have played that game. Win every other game except for the game against UCLA, and that's the season. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, was it fun watching this team? Yeah. And also, no. Okay, here are my reasons. Here are my concerns. The number one concern is the very frequent usage of pitchers that are not good. Now, getting Jensen as a freshman is a lifesaver. Now that we know that the NCAA is basically just going to be doing away with red shirts and are basically either going to go with an age-based format, or you get 5 fucking years to play college ball and then you have to get the fuck out. which, by the way, it doesn't really matter for Jordy since, torn ACL and whatnot. Um, this was a godsend to actually have a second pitcher because that was probably the main reason why we sucked last year was that we had to start Kamenzind, the pitching Kamenzind twin, and that would be the downfall of pretty much any game that we could potentially lose is because we do not have one of the best pitchers in the world pitching, and the next person was not as good. Which, by the way, I feel like Amazon has not hilariously, terribly fallen off. I just feel like outside of the one no hitter that she threw, which was in 5 innings against a team that finished second in the Big West, it's it is significantly regressed. I don't know what happened. Just the mechanics are not there anymore. They just are not there, and that's also why we keep seeing appearances of McGee. And while there was at least one performance that was pretty good, every other performance in which they tried to throw her in during the Big Ten regular season was not efficient at all. I cringed every time I saw either McGee or Kamenzind pitch. I didn't see a lot of Cope. Cope was not really used as much, kind of phased out of both pitching and hitting for somewhat. Definitely have nailed just getting every bat worth a damn to function mostly at the same time. When a lot of batters don't function, they're really, even with the batters that do function, it doesn't help. Big reason why we were able to win games, obviously, was the fact that our pitching was godlike. And while there were instances where our hitting was out there, we are nowhere near where the potential of this team could. I mean, if you look at Oklahoma, they are hitting multiple home runs, like 4 or 5 a fucking game. Like, that, they are demolishing the softball. There are some games in which they score 40. And I know. I could look at their team. Let's look here. Okay, so I need to figure out, like, they have scored 18 runs, 12, like 34 runs against UTEP. Okay, UTEP is not all that, but when you're putting up 34 runs against anyone really, like, that's fucking impressive. Meanwhile, our midweek games are 8-2 wins over Creighton, which I know. I know. Creighton is very mediocre overall, a decent conference record, but only putting up 8 runs against them is. I get midweeks or toss ups and all, but that's the difference in quality that we are going to be going up against if we do make it to the College World Series. Obviously for right now we have to scrap more with the Big Ten and the other teams that could be around us, but when you are eventually going to face the reality that you have to play against quality, and I think it's funny that Long Beach State has taken off games against both number ones in both sports. I don't know, but they demolish Washington 15-2. They put up 32 runs against Alabama State, and while I know that Alabama State is much more of a poverty program, they also put up 29 and 23 against them in 3 different games. our best run of scoring in 3 games was 17, 11, and 11 Saturday, Sunday, and Tuesday of the Minnesota and Omaha variety. That is, from what I can gather, our best scoring performance of the entirety of the season. Now maybe some of this later stuff can actually be here, but if I'm looking at this entire season, our highest scoring output is 17. Like, while the batting is fucking amazing, and I really, really am proud of the group, I do feel like because the team is not, clicking, like, all synced up together for a good amount of the time, that is going to make it suffer. I guess we can see how good they are doing in conference play. Is that a 14 to 2, 12 to 3, 10 to 2, 12 to 2? Oh, they also couldn't beat Oklahoma State. Wow. Yeah. Obviously, they still drop duds. Every team does. And they also play in the SEC. So, while they didn't put up 17 runs against a conference opponent, they did put up 14 against Ole Miss and Auburn, who are on the fringes of ranked, and at least won some extra inning games. 10 against. They beat out Texas 2-3, I guess. Just like that, there is levels that we needed to achieve, I guess, at some point in the hitting, but I don't know. Some other things, I guess. We need to be better about sending people home from third base. I don't know if Rhonda Revelle is that cut out anymore to be, a third base coach that can know exactly when players go. Like, when a player has the ball in the outfield, if you are not at least a third of the way home, they will laser it to home, all right? Unless unless it's like, all the way back there. If it is in front of them, they will laser it to the catcher, and the catcher will, more likely than not, throw you out. Okay, maybe I'm being a little, nitpicky about it, since I see a lot more base running mistakes from the other teams. But, I just feel like that needs to be a little bit better. And also the fact that some of the defense is kind of just off a little. They do have one of the better, defenses as a whole, but some of those mistakes I saw were just they're a bit better at the end. So I'll give them a little credit for actually managing to improve that over the time. But yeah, just sometimes. And also Big Ten. I guess let's just hope the weather isn't bad in Maryland in May. Oh, yeah, they're hosting this tournament in Maryland, by the way. Maryland finished their season like 2 to 3 weeks ago. I'm being dead serious. They for some reason front loaded their entire season and just did not play any games afterwards. That was it. That was their season because they finished almost at the bottom. Almost at the bottom. Iowa got cucked by Minnesota in the final game. So, good job, Minnesota. Proud of you. Get ready to face Washington. Our game is either going to be against Ohio State or Michigan. Now, I keep forgetting the Michigan series. The Michigan series is by far, outside of the one loss to UCLA, the worst performing series because it's a 3-4 and 3-run wins. Because even at least, when we only beat Michigan State 2-0, we came back the next day and punched them 13-0. Even if there was a 5-3 against Rutgers, there was still at least one run rule win. Even if there was a 4-0 against Minnesota, we thrashed them 17-2 the next day. Even if there was a 5-2 against Iowa, there was always a 13-0. That series did not have diddly squat. And it's going to be hard to beat a team 4 times, no matter the opponent. Especially if the opponent has won the Big Ten tournament 2 straight times. They are basically the Nebraska baseball of Big Ten softball. No matter what they do, they will somehow crown themselves in the fucking tournament. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's voodoo. Maybe they are just good, but they can only lock in during the tournament. It's the same questions I have with the baseball team. But, whatever. It's whatever. I have a lot of questions about the team, but I hope they are answered over the course of the next week or 2 or something like that, I guess. I don't know. But it doesn't matter because in the end, they went 23-1. Just like how volleyball only lost 1 set, we only lost 1 game. And that is really all that matters because it is silverware for the first time in the Big Ten era that we own ourselves. That is ours for the regular season. And to me, the regular season trophy is much harder to win than the tournament trophy, because while a tournament is a sprint, it's basically the same as like World Cup European Championship logic for soccer. The tournament is a sprint, but a season is basically a marathon. Like you got to be able to be mentally ready for every single game for much longer than a tournament, which only lasts for this one a couple days, or for a European Championship or World Cup a month. You just gotta be ready for that, and they were ready for the challenge, and that's good. One series that we needed to win, we won, and even if the rest of the schedule was Charmin soft, they won all the games. What do you want? What do you want from me? Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes the best thing is just winning. Even if you win like shit, you still win, I guess. So, as long as they keep winning, I'll be happy. Even if they don't do the double, still go into the NCAA tournament as one of the favorites. I just hope we at least make the Women's College World Series. That's kind of what I want to say as the bare minimum expectation. I think I said that last year. It was like we have to get back to at least the Super Regional. But now that this team is definitely significantly much better than last year's team, I think the bare minimum expectation is the Women's College World Series. And I really hope that they do not fall short of that, like the volleyball team did, because that was painful. That was very painful, more painful than any football loss to Iowa ever. That was painful, especially since it was against Trev. But yeah, I guess let me know what you guys think. I definitely had to re-record this because I set some shit too loud. Yeah. Let's just go and win, baby. That's pretty much all. Let's go win. I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.